Breaking news coming out of South Africa suggests that the government is considering an extreme and controversial measure: the possible deployment of landmines along parts of its borders. This comes after high-tech drones were reportedly used to track, intercept, and help arrest over 500 undocumented migrants attempting to cross into South Africa through the Beitbridge border area. If this plan goes ahead, it could change everything. Zimbabwe, be warned. Zimbabwe Unfiltered brings you a story that has sent shockwaves across southern Africa. A story unfolding right now at one of the busiest and most sensitive borders on the continent. A story that raises fear, anger, and serious questions about the future of migration, regional relations, and human life itself. Breaking news coming out of South Africa suggests that the government is considering an extreme and controversial measure: the possible deployment of landmines along parts of its borders. This comes after high-tech drones were reportedly used to track, intercept, and help arrest over 500 undocumented migrants attempting to cross into South Africa through the Beitbridge border area. If this plan goes ahead, it could change everything. Zimbabwe, be warned. Before we go any further, if you value uncensored African stories, hard truths, and real conversations that mainstream media avoids, make sure you subscribe to Zimbabwe Unfiltered right now. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay informed, because what we are discussing tonight affects millions of lives. It is still dark when the first drone rises into the sky over Beitbridge. Silent, almost invisible, it glides above the Limpopo River, scanning the bush, the footpaths, the dry riverbanks. Below, people move quietly, cautiously, hoping not to be seen. Mothers with children, young men chasing opportunity, desperate souls running away from hunger, unemployment, and collapsing systems. But this time, they are seen. According to South African authorities, surveillance drones deployed along the border detected large groups moving illegally across the frontier. With real-time footage relayed to ground units, Border Management Authority officers were able to intercept and arrest more than 500 people in a single operation. Officials are calling it a success, proof, they say, that technology is the future of border security. But behind this so-called success lies a far darker proposal. Sources close to South Africa's security cluster suggest that government officials are now debating the use of landmines or mine-like deterrent systems in high-risk border areas. The justification is simple and chilling. Illegal crossings have become too frequent, too organized, and too difficult to control using manpower alone. To South African policymakers under pressure, this is about national security. To migrants, it could mean death. Let that sink in. Landmines are weapons of war. They do not ask questions. They do not distinguish between criminals and children. Once buried, they wait, silent, patient, deadly. And now they are being discussed as a solution to migration. As you listen to this, ask yourself, how did we get here? Beitbridge has long been a symbol of desperation and survival. Every year, hundreds of thousands pass through legally. Thousands more attempt to cross illegally, guided by smugglers, risking crocodile-infested waters, armed robbers, and now potentially explosive devices hidden beneath the soil. For years, South Africa has complained about the strain illegal immigration places on its economy, its healthcare system, its jobs market, and its social services. Unemployment is high, crime is a major concern, political pressure is mounting, and politicians are responding the only way politicians often do, by getting tougher, louder, and more extreme. Drones were just the beginning. Officials praise the drones for their efficiency. They say technology reduces corruption, improves response times, and gives security forces the upper hand. But critics warn that this is a slippery slope. Surveillance today, militarisation tomorrow. and tomorrow may already be here. If landmines are introduced, even in limited areas, the consequences could be catastrophic. Border communities will be at risk, livestock will be killed, innocent travelers may wander into danger zones. Smugglers will adapt, but ordinary people will pay the price. This is not speculation. History has shown us this before. Across the world, from Angola to Mozambique, landmines have continued killing decades after wars ended. Children born long after peace still lose limbs, still die because explosives were buried and forgotten. Is South Africa prepared to repeat this tragedy in the name of border control? Zimbabweans must take this news seriously. This is not just a South African issue, it is a regional crisis in the making. When one country militarizes its borders, it affects all its neighbors. Migration routes shift, tensions rise, human suffering increases. For Zimbabwe, already grappling with economic hardship, this sends a powerful and frightening message. The door is closing, and it may close violently. Let us be honest, people do not risk their lives crossing borders for fun. They do it because they feel they have no choice, because home has become a place of survival, not opportunity. But instead of addressing root causes, leaders are choosing force. As this debate rages behind closed doors, ordinary people remain in the dark. No official announcement has been made yet, no confirmation, just leaks, whispers, and rising fear. And fear spreads fast. On the ground at Beitbridge, tension is already high. Increased patrols, more checkpoints, armed officers everywhere. The border is no longer just a crossing point, it is becoming a front line. If you are finding this information important, pause right now and subscribe to Zimbabwe Unfiltered. Share this video with your family and friends. These are conversations we must have openly, honestly, and without fear. Supporters of the proposed measures argue that South Africa has a sovereign right to protect its borders. They say no country can survive uncontrolled migration. They say criminals hide among migrants. They say drastic times require drastic solutions. But at what cost? Human rights groups are already raising alarm. International law is clear about the use of landmines. Many countries are signatories to treaties banning or restricting them. Even discussing their use in civilian areas draws global condemnation. South Africa risks damaging its international reputation, its moral standing, and its relations with neighboring states. And yet, political pressure from within may push leaders to act regardless. This story is bigger than borders. It is about how Africa treats its own people, about whether we solve problems with dialogue and development, or with weapons and walls. Zimbabweans watching this should not panic, but they should be alert. Migration routes are becoming more dangerous. Smugglers may lie. Promises of safe passage may no longer mean anything. If landmines are deployed, there will be no second chances. A single step, a single mistake, and a life is gone. As we bring this report to a close, one thing is clear. South Africa is standing at a crossroads. The choices made now will echo for generations. Will we build bridges or bury explosives? Zimbabwe Unfiltered will continue to monitor this developing story closely. We will bring you updates as soon as they emerge. No filters, no fear, just the truth as it unfolds. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. This channel exists because of you. Your support keeps these stories alive. Like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and tell us what you think about this shocking development. Until next time, stay informed, stay safe, and never stop asking questions.